All right, so Samsung's new phones are here, the Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus. And look, this year isn't just about a slightly better screen or camera. We're talking about two huge changes, a big price jump and a massive bet on artificial intelligence. So the big question is, are these new AI features actually worth the extra money? Let's dive in and figure it out.
And this quote, this really says it all, doesn't it? It's from the CNET hands-on, and it just nails the whole story. A Samsung rep literally said the phones have AI all over the place. And they weren't kidding, but, and this is the big but, that AI comes with a $100 price hike on both models. So that's the real tension here, and that's what we're going to break down.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, the big picture. Then we'll get into the hardware. Design, display, battery. After that, it's all about that AI. And finally, we'll talk price and give you the verdict. Simple enough, right? So let's jump right into section 1. You have to understand, Samsung is making a huge gamble this year. Their big bet is that AI is finally ready for the spotlight, that it's not just a gimmick anymore, but a set of powerful, genuinely useful features that you'll actually be willing to pay more for. This is really their vision for where smartphones are headed. And they certainly made a big deal about it. The announcement happened at the beautiful Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. Very grand. And for those of you wondering, you won't have to wait very long to try one out for yourself. The official release is set for March 11th. All right, let's move on to the hardware. In Section 2, we're talking about the physical stuff, the upgrades you can actually see and hold in your hand. We're talking design, the display, and of course, the battery. Okay, this is actually pretty interesting. If you look at the base model, the Galaxy S26, it's getting a little bigger. The screen is bumped up from 6.2 to 6.3 inches. So yeah, it's a little taller and wider. But here's the cool part. It's the exact same thickness as last year's phone. The S26 Plus, though, that one's staying put with the same 6.7-inch display. And speaking of practical upgrades, check this out. The standard S26 is getting a nice little battery boost, an extra 300 milliamp hours. It's jumping from 4,000 to 4,300. Now that might not sound like a ton, but in the real world, that should definitely translate to better battery life. The S26 Plus, on the other hand, is sticking with its 4,900 milliamp hour battery, which is already pretty solid. Now, when it comes to charging, this is where you really see a difference between the two phones. The base S26 is sticking with 25-watt wire charging. It's fine, but, The S26 Plus, though, gets that much faster 45-watt wire charging and even a faster 20-watt wireless. So, bottom line, if you want to top up your battery as fast as possible, you're going to want the Plus. Here's a kind of surprising design decision. Neither of these phones has those built-in magnets for accessories, like Apple's MagSafe. And Samsung's reason? They say they had to leave them out to keep the phones this thin. Makes sense, I guess. If you really want that feature, they do sell special cases that'll add the magnets for you. Okay, now for the part you've all been waiting for, the main event. Let's get into Section 3 and figure out what AI all over the place actually means in practice. This is really the core of Samsung's whole pitch this year.
So what exactly is Galaxy AI? Well, this is the third generation of it, and the whole idea is really simple: convenience. The entire focus is on using AI to make the stuff you do on your phone every day just easier, whether it's editing a photo or doing something more complex like booking a ride.
And the camera is probably the best place to see this in action. They've got some really cool AI features packed in here. There's something called Advanced Selfie that uses AI to make skin tones look better. Photo Assist lets you edit pictures just by typing what you want, and then there's Horizontal Lock, which promises to keep your videos perfectly steady. Let's dig into that horizontal lock feature for a second, because it's a perfect example of AI that's actually useful. You can literally spin the phone a full 360 degrees while you're recording, and the horizon in the video just stays flat. It's wild. Now, it's not foolproof. If you shake it a lot, the stuff in the foreground can get a little warped, but the basic idea is just so impressive. So what's powering all this magic? Well, it's a brand new custom chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy. And that for Galaxy part is really important. It means this chip has been specially tuned to handle all these crazy AI tasks, especially the camera stuff, without draining your battery. But this AI isn't just for taking pretty pictures. Here's an amazing real-world example of how it makes things easier. You just press the side button and say, "Get me an Uber," and boom, a little window pops up. You pick your ride, confirm payment, and then a little shortcut stays on your screen so you can do other things while you wait. Come on. That's genuinely helpful. And seriously, this AI stuff is baked into the entire phone. You've got a creative studio for making AI-generated things, an audio eraser that can pull background noise out of videos from any app like YouTube. The camera can automatically spot and scan documents. Even Bixby got a big upgrade and can understand you much more naturally now. They really weren't kidding when they said it's everywhere.
Okay, so we've seen all the cool new features, but that brings us back to the most important question, right? What's all this going to cost? Time for our final section, the price and the verdict.
Let's start with the base model, the Galaxy S26. It's going to start at $900. Yep, that's a full $100 more than last year's S25. That price bump definitely pushes it into a more premium category.
And it's the same story for the Galaxy S26 Plus. It's also going up by $100, starting at $1,100. Now, at that price, you're only $200 away from the top-of-the-line S26 Ultra. That puts it in a really tough spot, competing against some absolute monster phones.
And this chart really lays it all out. You can see the S26 and S26 Plus are pretty similar. Same processor, same main camera. But then you look over at the Ultra. For just $200 more than the Plus, you get a bigger screen, that insane 200-megapixel camera, and a slightly bigger battery. You can really see why the S26 Plus is in a bit of an awkward position here.
So that brings us to the verdict, based on CNET's first look. The standard Galaxy S26, it actually feels like a fantastic upgrade. You get a bigger screen, better battery. It's a really impressive package. The S26 Plus, though, that's a harder one to recommend. The updates are more minor, and at that new $1,100 price tag, it's just facing some incredibly tough competition.
Which leaves us with this final big question. Samsung is clearly going all in. They're betting that this kind of smart, helpful AI is the future, and that it's worth paying a premium for. The question for all of us now is, are they right? Is this the tipping point, the moment where AI on our phones goes from being a novelty to being something we can't live without? I guess we'll have to wait and see.